Good morning, morning, everybody. Michelle is here on this Saturday, December 27th, 2025. Whoa. Before you know it, we'll be turning over to a new year. Or let's not say a new year, but another year. And man, I'm telling you, like as I've said on the other previous videos, what a revelation I've had this year. But everything started culminating and coming to a point in 2022. And I think it's after after I retired, I was able to kind of let go. I wasn't concerned about whether I was going to lose my job or not. I wasn't concerned about whether I would have a place to stay. I knew my basic necessities would be taken care of. So it was like there was just that release of holding on to stuff that was burdening me and weighing me down. And it was as a result of coming out of the first responder profession. Because once you make, a lot of people look on the outside of things, and that's a natural thing that we do. We look at the outside of things, and we believe that because a lot of people used to I got approached so much when I was in that first responder position. I mean, God, I can't count how many times I was always approached, and people always wanting to ask questions. Fine, that's fine. What do you do? How can I do what you do? A lot of people, I guess, were inspired by what I was doing. But again, that's how we are. As I said, we're looking on the outside. We don't know what's going on in the backstory of our careers and the backstory of our lives and blah 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 blah. So when I got out of that field, again, my reality changed instantly. And it was like stuff started flooding back. So that's what deconstruction will do for you. When I got out of that job, the stressfulness of it, it was a toxic environment. Let's put it that way. But a lot of people didn't know it was toxic. Because again, you look at a first responder and you think they are your hero. Okay, but if you knew what, you may find it heroic, but if you knew actually what was going on in the background, you probably you would be shocked, and you would not be as naive about what people are going through in these toxic environments. A lot of and you probably have a little bit more compassion. I don't know. For certain people that work in these toxic environments, like myself, like for Black women more specifically and especially, how the toxic level in those environments are at an all-time volatile level, that it does start affecting your mental, your consciousness, your psyche, just your mental well-being. Because when I was in that field, I was fighting back against things because, have to keep in mind, it's a male-dominated and nepotism is rampant. And I spoke out against that because of the favoritism that spews up from all of that. So, and I was constantly always having to defend myself. And then I had these toxic dictator managers, dictator supervisors, dictator head leaders, whatever they were calling themselves. They were dictators, okay? They were acting exactly as dictators do, meaning they're interfering with your ability to provide for yourself, provide for your family. And it was all a psychological warfare. They were intentionally attempting to cause me to quit. And it didn't work. So my point is, when you're deconstructing, those are the type of forces that are going to come after you and come after you and come after you. Some subtle, but some are extremely toxic, and they make their intentions actually known. Because when I was in that toxic environment, people around me knew I was being targeted. They knew it. But again, a lot of people are afraid of losing their jobs. A lot of people are afraid of not being able to, the concerns are valid, but at the same time, I think a lot of them knew that Michelle could handle it, and Michelle did. I handled it. Okay, I handled it um, uh, in a very, very creative way. Whereas I came out on top, I was able to retire on my terms, da 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 da. So my point is, when you're deconstructing, there will be forces coming at you from all walks of life, more so from your family and the people close to you. For me, I started deconstructing when I started meditating back in the late 80s. Okay, so I had that life experience, whereas meditation was like as they say, a saving grace that came into my life. And once I got into meditation, I could see clearly now. It's like it caused an awareness that I don't think I would have ever known or seen in any time in my life. That was a saving grace for me, because if I had not introduced myself to meditation, I think I probably would have been committed, honestly. I mean, seriously. And because it was just everything was just swirling out of control. And I couldn't, I had to learn how to take back my power of my thoughts, take back my power of who I am, what I am, and why I am. I am not my parents. I am not my siblings. I'm not my neighborhood. I had to re-examine my life, and I didn't know that's what I was doing, but that's what I was doing. So it's a lifelong process. I just want to let people know out there, when you're deconstructing, that's a lifelong process. It doesn't just you don't just say, okay, I don't need to worry about this. I don't need to worry about no. Once one layer is cleared up, then you're gonna have to go into another layer. That's what it does. And then meditation, like I said, I put a video out a couple of years ago. Do not make a big deal out of meditation. Okay, a lot of people make a big deal out of meditation the same way they make a big deal out of exercising, and a big deal out of what to eat, what not to eat, and worry, being so concerned about how much they weigh, how much they don't weigh, and going through all of these unnecessary burdens. You're putting too much pressure on yourself, being concerned about how much you weigh, what you're eating, what you're not eating. Just give yourself some love. Self-love is accepting your reality as it is. So that's what you can do with meditation. As you're deconstructing, find these moments where you can just sit within yourself, ground yourself, and be realistic about your situation. Okay? And do whatever you can to release all these labels. I'm a CEO, I'm a team leader, I'm artistic, I'm bipolar, I'm a hypochondriac. All of these, all of this stuff piling on you. You're going to have to release that. And part of deconstruction will allow you to do that. You'll just move that stuff out of the way. You can suspend it. You don't have to say, okay, I'm getting rid of religion, I'm getting rid of da-da-da, da-da-da. Just say, hey, I'm going to suspend this. Okay, and get yourself naked, so to speak. You can do that literally too. Whereas, okay, you get brutally honest with yourself, but in a kind and gentle way. So when it comes to deconstructing as well, you will be in most cases, alone. Okay? Each one of us have to do this alone. And so a lot of people get bothered by that because, a lot of people don't want to be alone. A lot of people equate being alone with being lonely, and that's not the case at all. A lot of people are realizing that as well. So many people are talking about peace and peace and peace and peace. I know what that is. It's you want some peace within. You want to hear the birds. You want to feel the sun against your skin. You want to see what you're feeling with bare feet. You want to get into that. But turn it into activities. Don't just sit and meditate all day long and think things are going to happen for you. No, attempt to incorporate that in everything you do. Some people love washing dishes. Some people love cooking. I like cleaning, when I can. Some people, I have a lot of relatives that love to drive or be driven. They like a lot of my young relatives, and one, all of them, as a matter of fact. But I remember one in particular, she loved to be driven around town. There was just something calm about that for her. That would calm her down immediately. So myself and my brothers got in the habit of when she would start misbehaving, which she did all quite often. Oh boy. We would get in the car, put her in the back seat, and just drive. And before you know it, she was out. So, and I enjoy driving too. That's why I prefer to have driven from the East Coast to the West Coast. I thought about a train because I thought maybe with the train I could see a bit more. So, but I'll still do that. I don't think there's a train that came. I think I researched. I don't remember a train coming from the part of the East Coast where I was to where I am now on the West Coast. So, but yes, you're going to be, and you ought to be, alone in this. You have to. Now, if people are saying they're lonely, that usually wouldn't matter whether somebody was with you or not. So find out what that means to you. What does it mean to be lonely? I know a lot of people want a community of people and they want to be around like-mindedness. I've done that. I've been in like-mindedness and it turned out to be a disaster because I realized people were not walking the talk. And a lot of people were manipulative, deceptive, and plain lying about their capabilities, about their skills and abilities. Oh, well, what are you going to do? The one thing, like I said, you do not want to do is you deconstruct yourself and then go right back into another pattern of beliefs. You leave one religion and you go to another one, thinking one is better than the other. So it's a process. It's a lifelong process, actually. You constantly have to shed skin metaphor and reveal who you are, what you are, and why you are. You're going to die alone. No matter who's around you, that process is for you only, for your eyes only. So, when I don't want to say get comfortable with it, but just ask the right kind of questions. I'm going to put some question and answers also tied to my website as well. Whereas, it's a lifelong process. And it doesn't matter if somebody's, and you need to, if you choose to, remember everything is free will. Everything that I've ever talked about over the course of these years is free will. But get in the habit of when you are with people, how does that make you feel? Think about it internally and try to or attempt to notate why it feels so good to have people around you or it doesn't. And then get by yourself and find out, okay, why do I not want to be by myself? What am I afraid of something? And a lot of it is religiously based, by the way. So be just calm and gentle with yourself. You are experiencing certain things because it was religiously indoctrinated into us. We were told that something outside of us is supposed to make us happy. My partner is supposed to make me happy. My wife is supposed to make me happy. My environment, my career, the amount of money I made, da 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 da. That's how we were indoctrinated to believe that. But as soon as you turn that inside of yourself, as I have, I can tap into that anytime, and it's permanent. It's permanent peace and joy, enthusiasm, happiness, regardless of what's happening outside of me. Somebody can be cursing me, like when I in the first responder field. People can be cursing me out and saying this and that and the other, calling me this and that and the other, da 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 da. And it doesn't fit me. It doesn't affect me with my permanent happiness and joy. But I'm going to defend myself too. I'm not going to just sit back and just allow people to, to abuse me, and harass me. I'm not going to allow that at all. And then if I have somebody, and with my partner, there's no way I'm going to stand by and allow that to happen. But it doesn't, but that's called being a warrior. I'm a warrior. I'm a defender. I'm a protector, and I'm a lover. So I'm going to step in and handle what I need to handle. But it doesn't affect me internally. So I'm going to go ahead and just say that for now. I've said enough, but I wanted to go ahead and end this year with a series of videos for people to consider listening to. There's trillions of videos out there. I know that. Trillions of content out there. But it's about sounds and tones and how people resonate with you. I know people are resonating with me, even though they don't even know that. They don't see, people are resonating with you, but you may not even know that they are resonating with you. Blah, blah, because we're paying attention to likes and followers, which is manipulated and deceived. And of course, these developers and blah 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 are going to say, "Oh no, we're not." Even the chat, they call them chat bots. Even they'll deny that kind of thing is happening. But I know what's happening. All you have to do is just trust what you are picking up. Follow the trail. Is it logical, rational, and reasonable? And then trust yourself. Do not attempt to argue back and forth with people about whether these likes are genuine, these followers are genuine. It's all fraud. But it's not. Who's going to admit that? That's losing trillions and trillions of dollars, actually, if it's admitted that everything's manipulated and deceived. So just do what you need to do. Don't be so concerned about that. Again, that's something outside of you anyway. What's going on inside of you? Why do you feel a certain way? And, do your own analysis of your own life and not allow technology to take that over from you, which sadly, they are and have. So, again, this is a part of the deconstruction series. It's a alone process. You have to do it alone, whether somebody is outside of you or not. Okay, so get that clear as to why you believe, because it's a belief as well. You need someone that you find out what it means to you to be lonely and what that means to you and how to resolve it. Okay, how to resolve it, because we have almost 10 billion people on this planet. So there's no way we ought to be feeling lonely with that. So I'm going to go ahead and send peace and love all over the stars and moon and mountains. It's about universal love. And universal love was always inclusive. We, as a humanity, divided it and turned it into commodities. Peace and love. Be kind and gentle with yourself. And trust me, I will be back.